Thank you so much. And thank you also for inviting me and for being here today. It's great to see all of you. We just heard Cecilia from Umbilical Design talking about taking space down to Earth, and I'm now going to take the journey back into Earth. Sweden is one of the few countries in the world that are actually going to enable commercial human spaceflight. And that will be for space tourism, but even more for research, education, and product development. So hopefully, working together with Cecilia and the processes, we will see even more innovation on Earth, actually. So a little bit about my background. You heard I worked in the tourism industry for a very long time. I did start out studying math and physics, though, and I did a big piece about space travel. Then I set down the business management route, and I worked within the tourism industry for a long time. And now my background has come full circle, and I get to combine the two, which is very exciting. And like Cecilia said, you know, we see very few students and women in our industry, so it's great to be here and share this together with you today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the industry, what is going on out there, and why Sweden? What ingredients do we have that actually matches this, and why can we travel from Sweden? I'm going to talk about some of the challenges that we're facing, but also the work that we are doing to overcome those challenges. And also what we're doing already today. You know, space travel will come, it's around the corner, but already today we can offer you space experiences. So it all started a long time ago, but the new development, the tipping point for now commercial human space travel for you and me started with this.
How people think about space and space travel. Offer a prize, and they will come.
We're announcing today something called the X Prize, a $10 million contest to privately build a spaceship that's able to carry 3 individuals, fly to 100 kilometers altitude, and do that twice inside of 2 weeks.
By defining the challenge with the Ansari X Prize, the X Prize Foundation ignited a new race to space, luring teams from around the globe. Acting as the catalyst, the X Prize Foundation demonstrated an incentivized competition can change the world.
Hey, it's a $10 million prize. You know, $10 million meant a lot to me.
It certainly helped give us some focus.
It's an obsession.
Working evenings and nights and weekends.
I have never been myself as creative as I have eyeballing this prize. I'm not going to tell you what I've come up with because I want to win this.
Hello and welcome to Mojave here in the high desert of California on this incredible day. Now you are going to witness history in the making. There it is.
You call it 368,000 feet.
The Ansari X Prize inspired international competition, drove regulatory reform, and made history, dramatically demonstrating that space travel was not exclusively the province of government.
The X Prize was $10 million.
It ignited a personal spaceflight revolution.
How about that? How many of you would like to go into space? Oh, I love that. Another guy that wanted to go into space was Peter Diamandis. He was the guy who initiated X Prize, and he was so frustrated. He said, you know, NASA, the American Space Agency, we've seen development, but we haven't seen innovation. When am I, who's got an engineering degree and a doctor's degree, gonna get to go to space and practice my skills? So he actually got inspired by Charles Lindbergh. the guy who flew over the Atlantic, and he did that to win a prize. And he said, I'm going to start a competition, and that's going to radically change the world. So in 2004, the competition took place. The guy with the good looks, who said, I'm not going to tell you what I've come up with, he was Bert Rutan, and he did actually win this competition. So what we're seeing now, like 100 years ago when the air industry was commercialized, we're now commercializing the space industry. And it will enable us to travel, you and me. Previous soldiers, they have trained for years and years to conduct a mission out in space. But now we can go as students, as researchers, as business and product developers, and it will revolutionize access and research platforms. So space used to be managed by countries, big national programs. And there have been initiatives earlier on to build new types of spacecrafts. This was Neil Armstrong. He flew the X-15. He actually didn't reach space. But I guess he got revenge later on, huh? So what we're seeing now is new technology being developed. And this is Spaceship Two being developed by Virgin Galactic. And 3 weeks ago, they did a fundamental test where they ran their engine for the first time integrated into the vehicle. And they did a test run for 16 seconds. They will now increase that flight time, fly higher, and aim at the end of the year to actually do their first space flight. It is around the corner. It has taken a little bit longer than anticipated, but this is rocket science. So Spaceport Sweden then, we're looking to develop this industry right here in Sweden and to create a hub above the Arctic Circle in Kiruna from where we will be able to fly into space. We want to provide the services around this, the infrastructure, but also offer you your next adventure, offer learning and training before your space trip. And Kiruna has been Europe's space city since 1950s, and I will tell you a little bit more about that. But we want to be a world-leading spaceport. And we've got all the potential to do so. And our next target is to be able to send you and you and you and myself into space within the next 5 years. But we don't only focus on the actual space travel. We want to become a center for excellence. We want to tie this into science, to education, to innovation. We want to capitalize on the opportunities for training and testing that we have already in the area, but also to build further, to build competence, research, and create new experiences also going forward. And we work already, like Cecilia does also with NASA, the European Space Agency, and also the new companies that are coming on board developing new technology. And working together with students and universities is a cornerstone for us, both to use their creative minds, their skill set, but also to show them that Sweden is a very high-tech society, and this is where exciting development is taking place. Be part of it. There is one company that's already commercially flying and has been conducting 2 commercial flights to the International Space Station, and that's SpaceX. SpaceX started in 2002 by Elon Musk, and he started something called PayPal once upon a time. And collaborating together with NASA, the private and public sector together, we are able to take the next giant leap. So this is together with Charles Bolden, the director of NASA, and he's applauding both, of course, how the private industry is now stepping forward, but also the initiatives taking place all over the world, including Sweden. And why go into space? You know, as I mentioned, it's not only about, traveling, although my dream is to see Earth from above. And what astronauts and cosmonauts or taikonauts talk about is how you see no boundaries. We live on one planet, and we need to look after it, and we need to look after each other. But it's also to find solutions to challenges that we face on Earth, like Cecilia was talking about. Whether it's medication or materials or renewable energies. And through this new technology, we will be able to travel 4 times a day. And some of the markets that are being developed at this is, of course, the commercial travel side, but also basic and applied research. It's a test bed, like the International Space Station is already a big lab that's circulating our Earth. This will also be a bed for that. And going forward, we will also be able to travel point to point. So through stronger engines and more heat-resistant material, we will be able to travel 4 to 6 times faster than we're doing today. So this is Spaceport America that's being developed in New Mexico. And New Mexico in the US has 1.8 million inhabitants, and their greatest export was young people and talent. And 15 years ago, they reviewed their assets and they realized we have a launch site like we do in Sweden at S-Range. And space is an industry of the future. So they're investing $225 million to build infrastructure to enable space travel. So Richard Branson has said, Virgin Galactic, this is where we're going to start flying. And the spaceport is near ready now. And the governor, Martinez, that you can also see in this picture, she just announced this autumn that 1,300 new jobs have been created. They're attracting all this talent to come back and set up companies and want to be part of the future. And the same goes for Mojave. Mojave was where the X Prize took place that you saw the movie. It's a mining town. It's an hour and a half outside of Los Angeles. They have the same asset that we do, vast unpopulated areas over which it's safe to fly. So since the X Prize took place, it's become a Silicon Valley for this new industry. They've seen 50 new companies establish themselves there, 3,000 new jobs. And it's space, it's the air industry, it's the wind industry, and the rail, and they all come together, transferring knowledge and talent. And we work closely together. You can hardly see Stuart here in this dark picture, but he's the manager of Mojave Air and Spaceport. And we work closely together because we're creating a global new industry, and we need to join forces in doing that. So what about Kiruna then in Sweden? What are our unique assets that enable us to actually have this industry here in Sweden? So Kiruna has been a science city for over 100 years. And it started with a rich iron ore, and it's a very high-tech mining industry going on there. And perhaps you've heard, due to the rich iron ore that's still left there, we're actually moving the whole of Kiruna now, which is another very interesting project for another talk. But we also have something called the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis. And we've had research groups already since the 1900s coming up to Kiruna to do research about the Northern Lights. And already in 1957, the Institute for Space Physics, perhaps you heard Gabriella and her colleague talk this morning, was established and is one of the world's leading research institutes. We also have the airport. You can see the red building here. That has been established since 50 years ago. We have a secondary high school focusing on math and physics, Space High School. And we also have Luleå University of Technology that has 2 space masters in Kiruna. And that combined with our nature and our tourism industry makes us a very interesting place, and the fact that we have a large area of unpopulated space. And we're trying to visualize this. This is air traffic going out of the US into Europe on a daily basis. And you can see that it's fairly busy. But if you look far up north, you see Sweden, and it's less busy up there. And that's one of our strengths, that it's safe to fly and we can fly within Sweden. And again, combining this, so not everyone will be able to go into space, but you bring friends and family with you and you can experience wonderful adventures on this natural playground. So developing a new industry, I said, and it really is. We're being a catalyst for this at the moment. So we're working together with the government to solve regulatory issues. What about insurance? What type of VAT do you put on these type of vehicles? And also education and research. How do we ensure we have the right skill sets going forward and again attract that talent? And also how do we work with other entrepreneurs in developing new products and services? And again, working across borders, because like airports have similar standards and policies, so do we need to have a spaceport. And Spaceport Sweden, like Pragya was saying in our Spacewalk competition here, is going to be developed at Kiruna Airport. Now that's because these vehicles fly and land like aircraft. But of course, we need to do some operational amendments there to make that fit. So we have a very interesting and challenging job in enabling all this and speaking to all these stakeholders. But if it was easy, it would be done already, right? So part of the job that we do is building that network. You need to surround yourself with that team. And we've also positioned ourselves as a thought leader. You know, we want to become a world-leading spaceport. So we're working on our network, and we're also part of panels internationally and talking about the ambitions and the heritage, and also that the work that we do to establish Sweden on the space map. And I mentioned working with universities. So the Luleå University of Technology, they have a Center for Excellence together with Nova, which is Sweden's innovation agency. And they actually look into how do you create a new industry? How do you create a system of innovation? So they follow the work that we do, and we also work together on vast amounts of projects together with students and the researchers. And this is key because we're going to build something that's going to sustain in the future. And working with students is just one of the most stimulating tasks in my job. There are no limits. The creativity is just great. And here's a team that we were working with last summer, and they developed a space tunnel. So when you enter the airport, which looks like a regular airport today, they created a concept for a tunnel, so you actually feel like you're landing and walking through a corridor and walking on the moon. So hopefully we will be able to implement that together with our space wall going forward. And again, working with the researchers and all their vast experience about the Northern Lights, how can we capitalize on that and share all that knowledge to the general public? And we also have a project that we call Creative Space. We have been very good at using technology into vehicles and into different kind of materials. But if you use that technology and you actually spread it into food, fashion, design, experiences, health, only your imagination really sets the boundaries there. And one of the platforms that we use to communicate our initiative, but also enable people to meet from different backgrounds, is TEDx. And the Space Wall Challenge that we're having today is actually having the opportunity to present at our next TEDx, which is on the 5th of June. So TED stands for Technology, Entertainment, Design. I'm sure all of you are aware of it. And was set up in the 80s in California. That's where the main conference is held every year. But you can apply for a license to do local TEDx. So this is from last year. We had on your left-hand side Michael Lopez Alegria. He's a 4-time astronaut. He spent the most time at the station and also the longest spacewalk. And he was also the commander of the station when the Swedish astronaut Christer Fuglesang was there. So he spoke about his experiences, but also the vision going forward. On your right-hand side, we had Johan Lantz. He's a chef, and he's done a Northern Light menu. What does the Northern Light taste like? What does it look like on your plate? And we had also a creative designer looking at a spacesuit and how you can use smart textiles and also jewelry inspired by space. So the next big project that we're going into now is actually looking at how can we spread this, how can we get more organizations and companies on board to develop new products and services using nature and technology combined together. And Kiruna has been selected by the government as one of 5 destinations in Sweden that they want to focus on becoming a sustainable but also world-class destination to attract more visitors from international markets. And one of the reasons is the opportunity that we have with space. And NASTAR in the US, they've created a concept where they look at how can we create synergies. So knowing that these new spacecraft, they can fly up to 4 times a day. You as a researcher or a designer or a product developer, you can travel with your experiment in the morning. You can come back down into the lab, you can do your adjustments or your measurements, and you can travel again. It's just going to revolutionize the opportunity that we have. So we're looking at now how can we create one platform at the airport where we can combine air and space, research, education, and edutainment. So people can learn and play, and like a science center, we want to educate them about space. But we also want to capitalize on the fact that Kiruna is a science city. So we have the high-tech mining industry, and it's quite thrilling to think about the fact that you can go 1,500 meters below Earth, and in the future, 10,000 meters that way. So I spoke a little bit in the beginning about that we're also facing some challenges. Sweden has been a space launch nation for 60 years. We've sent over 500 sounding rockets into space for research, but we never sent humans. So we need an addition to the existing law that gives us guidelines, what we need to apply with. And this is not a big deal, but it takes time, and it's something that we're working together with the government to resolve. And this is from a meeting we had at the government together with one of the space operators in your left-hand corner called X-Core, and his name is Andrew. So together we're pushing the boundaries. And another key challenge is also solving an export license. So these vehicles are primarily being developed in the US, and we need to be able to import them now into Sweden and other countries, of course, but we want to be first. So we're working together with the US government, and Sweden has a 30-year history of working together with the US when it comes to the peaceful use of space. So meeting with the top politicians there to support our cause is something that we're focusing on, and we have that great support and network. So finally, going into space, although it's being simplified, it's still not a picnic. You need to prepare and also to maximize the time that you have in there. The more you know how your body is going to react to the G-force and so forth, the more you can enjoy it. So some of the products that we have is, for example, what we call the Northern Light flight. So again, working together with the researchers at the Institute of Space Physics, they've done research about the Northern Lights for all this time. They are part of this, and we transfer their knowledge about the aurora and what they can expect. And then you get to fly in a 12-seater aircraft and really see the Northern Lights from a front row. And should there be a cloud, you can actually fly above the cloud base. And another just amazing experience is flying weightless and go on a parabolic flight. And last year we saw a historic shift in Europe where for the first time ever the general public is allowed on these research flights. And it's a magical experience. I recommend it for everyone. And as Cecilia explained, it goes in you do parabolas and you get sort of 25 seconds of weightlessness. And it is, you're floating around and you feel sort of an out-of-body experience. It's just amazing. And something that we're launching very soon is also working together with Kinetic in Linköping, and they have a long-arm centrifuge and also hyperbaric chamber where you can feel high altitude, but primarily the centrifuge where you can feel the G-forces that you will experience when you do your space flight. And the difference now compared to the shuttle or the Soyuz when you have a vertical launch is the horizontal launch now where you're going to be pushed forward and upwards. So you have a combination of G-forces, which is very unique. But together with Kinetic now, we're launching this 2-day program where you get to try and train so you can maximize and be as relaxed as you can prior to your space adventure. And Cecilia also spoke a little bit about this, but about courage and about hanging in there and never give up. And I think that's really important, and also to believe in your own cause. Doing something that hasn't been done before can be quite nerve-wracking, but as long as you believe and you fight hard and you never give up, you can get there. And we received an award last year, and this is my colleague Karin, for being innovative. This is at the Swedish Tourism Awards last year. And, and it's such an encouragement that people recognize the work that you do, and we hope to spread that to other people as well. Nothing is impossible. This is one of the concepts. Both X-Core and Virgin hope to actually fly commercially already next year. So it is around the corner. And I'd just like to finish off with this, the day before something, it's a breakthrough. It's a crazy idea. But never stop believing and never give up. So don't forget to be part of our challenge. Cecilia and Pragya and myself will be here during the coffee break, and we're doing a space wall challenge where your idea might actually be the next TED Talk at our TEDx Kiruna, 5th of June. Thank you.